Welcome to this spooky Solah region update, trainers. Originally, I wanted to talk about some Pokemon from Route 2 in the next town over, but, some of those fit better into a holiday-themed video, so let's delve into some ghostly lore for Solah. And sure, I know Halloween was last month, but being as this airs on the 1st of November, that's like yesterday. Literally yesterday. Most people won't have even finished their candy yet. I have, but that's besides the point. For those unfamiliar, welcome. On this channel, we're creating a Fakemon region based on Southern California and some of the surrounding areas. So, beaches, desert, mountains, suburbs, and a million abandoned spooky places. Hey, if you enjoy Fakemon and Pokemon content, I'd really love it if you could like and subscribe. I post new Fakemon videos every month and a lot of Let's Play content, so if that sounds like your jam, please, you are welcome here. Anyway, ghosts. The ghost type in Pokemon isn't exactly like dead stuff. Not always, anyway. These are still mostly critters, but they harness ghostly energy and have ghostly properties more than just being like, you know, your Growlithe died and it's a ghastly now. But then again, you also have things like Yamask and Phantom, which are directly stated to be dead people. Yamask carries a mask which bears the face of the person they were when they died, so you could potentially catch one, notice it looks pretty familiar, and then realize why you haven't heard from Uncle Harold in a few months. And Phantom are kids who died in the forest and then possessed tree stumps. So, you know, that's horrifying when you come across a big group of them. To be expected in a world where 10-year-olds are routinely given an electrocution mouse and sent off into the world like they're grown adults, I guess. That's a downer. Anyway, much like Dragon, Ghost was represented by only a single family in Generation 1, with one addition in Generation 2. Gen 3 started opening things up a bit, and now we have an absolute gaggle of ghostly goodies to grab up, from the Grizzly Spiritomb, which contains 108 individual souls, to the goofy Litwick, which wanders around pretending to lead you to safety while it guzzles down your soul. We're getting on towards nightfall. Kinda reminds me of the Vigilum video. Hopefully power isn't out in the lab, right? Haha, well guess what? We're not going to the lab today. Instead, let's take a little field trip. Let's go ahead and borrow Litwick again. Hey buddy, welcome back. Here we have an abandoned warehouse. Not the spookiest of locations, right? It's not like we're ghost adventuring in an abandoned asylum or long-forgotten prison. But warehouses have a certain level of character to them. They're everyday places where necessary things happen. You might never have thought much about it, but if a warehouse stops running, a lot can go wrong for a lot of people. An efficient warehouse is like a well-oiled machine, and it does a lot of good for the community it's a part of, especially all the people working hard to keep it functional. So we've talked about Tsukumogami on this channel before in relation to object-based Pokemon. The idea that loved and often used objects can gain a spirit over time, usually 100 years, and in that same tradition, places can have spirits or even deities. The Kami of a mountain, for example. Again, I'm no history professor, just an avid student, so I'll put some resources in the description for you to check out if these ideas are something you want to learn more about. The monster I've been working on takes a little from each of these ideas. What if there was a warehouse that was abandoned, but once was a busy, lively place? An important place. So this is Sears Tower in Los Angeles. Built in 1926 to 1927, this 9-story behemoth was originally a mail-order distribution center for Sears. It dealt with customer orders for customers west of the Rockies and had offices all the way up, plus a regular Sears department store on the ground floor. Sears used to be a pretty big deal and do a lot of business, so that's a lot of product to move and store. That means you have some massive warehouses to deal with. Now, it wasn't open 100 years. The store itself closed in 2021, but the distribution for mail-order stuff stopped in 1992. So all in all, people stopped using the building 6 years shy of that 100-year mark. Still, Solah isn't a one-to-one recreation of the real world, and this isn't a one-to-one recreation of the Sears Tower. Welcome to Knome Co. Why is it called that? Guess. If you can guess correctly and put it in the comments, I will do an art request for you. Clues are nowhere in this video. I'm not even kidding. We'll call it the Jim is a nerd and puts too much thought into inconsequential stuff. Please help validate his need to research stuff until 3 a.m. challenge. Anyway, Knome Co used to distribute goods to Pokemarts all across the region, as well as nearby regions using land-based freight options. But as technology advanced, especially the ability to move Pokemon and items digitally through the PC system, it found itself to be less and less relevant. Eventually, you guessed it, it closed down. Throughout the time it was in use, though, it developed a spirit of its own. Busy, hard-working people kept the place alive and happy. But once those people left, well, the happiness left too, leaving behind the alive part. Sort of. My concept for this Pokemon is that the spirit of this location has coalesced. It's clumped itself into this pallet of half-empty boxes and shrouded itself in discarded shrink wrap, which is what a lot of pallets arrive to warehouses wrapped in. The idea for this came from a tradition I have of drawing ghostly faces on pallets wrapped in white shrink wrap during October. Hopefully the people who received them find them fun. Anyway, the form that you would find is weak, small, and kind of angry. Colors are honestly just realistic colors, at least at this stage. It can use unearthly energy to manipulate old boxes, bits of wood, and junk that's lying around the location. The shrink wrap provides them with mobility and a space to hide. I modeled it a little on the hair of Sadako, or Samara if you prefer, the girl from Ringu, where it covers the eyes a bit and descends straight down. And here is Palletgeist, first stage. Palletgeist form in abandoned warehouses that had previously been busy for at least 100 years. Once the people leave, the spiritual energy they left behind starts to turn sour and soaks into wooden pallets. Once formed, they will try to reclaim their usefulness by assembling items under their shrink-wrap cowl. Here are your base stats and moves for the first form. That's pretty weak, right? The bigger your buddy gets, though, the better those stats are. But how do you make it bigger? As you explore the building, you'd find boxes of derelict merchandise that your new Pokemon pal can add to its mass, assuming that you caught it. This is a combo of ideas: the hunt for Zygarde cells in Sun and Moon, the massive random objects that stick out of Gmax Garbodor, and collecting 108 spirits to assemble Spiritomb in Legends Arceus. It would be a more limited space to hunt bits and pieces, but hopefully it would be worth it to assemble a ghostly Titan to fight your enemies. Of course, the more you collect, the stronger it would be. And did I mention that these boxes are possessed? They don't look scary like Palletgeist. If anything, they're just kinda cute. You battle them, catch them, and then can transfer them into the main bulk of Palletgeist. These little guys count as a one-stage Pokemon. You can see they have little glowing eyes and ectoplasm arms, and they're basically just a little taped-up box. And here comes Pakage, the Shadow Box Pokemon. Pakage are found wandering in abandoned warehouses, docks, and stores. Essentially anywhere that products were stored and forgotten. It says they are possessed by the souls of people who really needed the items stored within their cardboard shell. There are your base stats, and here's a learned moves list. The idea of items sitting in warehouses and shipping containers where they're no use to anyone has always bugged me. Like, I get that's how commerce works sometimes, but some companies would rather just abandon product or have it destroyed versus donating it or whatever. The implication with Pakage is that the items were necessary and someone may have died without them. I think that ought to be enough to cause a vengeful spirit to possess the box the item is stuck inside. Sort of like Shuppet. They resent the human world and are just restless and mean. But these are negative feelings brought on by loneliness. If only there was a way for them to feel less lonely. Something bigger they could be a part of. The name is a portmanteau of package and kage, which is Japanese for shadow. The two words fit together so well I just couldn't resist. For the abilities I went with Oblivious, meaning it can't be infatuated, because it's a cardboard box. And Pickup, which gives it a chance to find random items after battle, because it's a cardboard box that wants to be useful. And the hidden ability is Cursed Body, which has a chance of disabling a move used against it, because it's a ghost. Here's your shiny, and here's the egg. Catch a Pakage after catching Palletgeist, and you'll get a little cutscene where Palletgeist emerges and cries at you, seemingly grabbing for Pakage's Pokeball. Hand it over, and Palletgeist will disappear back into its own Pokeball. But the next time you catch a Pakage, an additional option will appear during the catch screen. You know, you usually get the chance to add it to the party or send it to the PC. At that point, an additional option pops up. Offer to Palletgeist. Do this enough times and Palletgeist will shift forms. The base form has almost spider-like qualities with those wooden appendages sticking out and shrink-wrap legs. Misty suggested this and I was a little reluctant at first, but after some sketches I think it works really well. The second form would be a little bulkier with more legs. Colors won't change much, but it will have a slightly more complete look, less rough edges and loose tatters. And here we have Palletgeist, the second form. Having attained more mass, Palletgeist is able to control its environment more and rearrange the world to suit its needs. Here's an updated set of stats at least. Still no new moves. This is after allowing it to hoard 10 Pakage. Gosh, I wonder what happens if you give it 20. Nothing. Okay. But the option to hand them over still keeps popping up, so let's just keep going, I guess. 30, 50, 80, 85. 90 more? 90 more. That's a total of 100 Pakage, that's insane! Look, I wouldn't want this monster to be easy to get. The encounter is a one-off. If you miss your chance to catch it, it's gone for good. And to power it up all the way, I want that to take effort. Not just time, but money as well. To make this Pokemon viable, you need to show that the work and effort isn't beyond you. But once you've accomplished this feat, catching it and 100 other Pokemon, well, this is what you get. It's taller and looks more full. The random boxes floating around have become individual Pakage. You could see them almost like the mini noses that Probopass has. It still looks creepy and weird, but a little less so. Pallegast, Final Form. This Pokemon is perfected only upon providing refuge and purpose to 100 lost souls in need. It still retains a level of vengefulness for having been abandoned, but it's on the road to recovery. Its driving goal is to be useful. Here are your base stats, and you get a few new moves with this form switch. You don't get a lot and they don't come easy, but they are there if you're willing to work for them. Base stats are 100 across the board, as you guessed it, this is a pseudo-legendary. I know the 100 and everything base stat total is a Pixie Pokemon thing, but 100 souls, 600 base stat total, it's fine, it's okay, I'm not worried about it much. The ability for your first two forms is Mummy, which changes an opponent's type to Mummy if they make contact. I see this as being like a faux Pokemon hitting Pallegast and getting stuck in that flowing shrink wrap. For the final form, we're going with Regenerator. This restores some HP when Pallegast is removed from battle, and I figure this is kind of like it putting itself back together, putting boxes back in place, and getting itself resituated. The hidden ability is Shadow Tag for all three. This prevents foes from fleeing or swapping out. Remember, it's not stuck in there with you. You're stuck in there with it. Here's the shiny for Pallegast, and here's the egg. Kinda plain looking, but it's mostly just the color of layered shrink wrap. Because Pallegast is the accumulated spiritual energy of a warehouse, its end goal was to take these lost souls and give them a purpose, much like warehouse jobs would have given to the warehouse workers back in the days when this tower, was running at full steam. Congratulations, you have, in a sense, purified this place. Will that change things in the region at all? Well, you'll have to wait and see when I eventually get to talking about this spot. It would actually be pretty late game, hence I have no clue what the Pokedex numbers would be for these Pokemon. They're found only in one spot on the map, and you'd be essentially done with at least the minor league gym challenge by the time it's accessible. Well, let's get out of here. This place is starting to give me the creeps. Alright trainers, thanks for taking a little detour with me today. I really do hope you enjoyed these ghostly fellows. I really appreciate you stopping by to watch the stuff I make, and I can't wait to catch you in the next video. But until then though, take care. Bye!